What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today for another predictions video. I'm recording these separate from all the rest of them. I didn't really get a chance to get the Atlantic one done, so I'm going to do it today on the Tuesday, normal schedule. Wearing my Florida Panthers jersey to rep the Atlantic Division. They just went to the Stanley Cup Final. I'm not wearing my Huberto one, which has their current logo. I'm going to wear their old one that I like much better. I like the color much better as well. It's like a scarlet reddish. And, yeah. So Atlantic Division, just like the previous videos, I have already listed them from where the standings were last year. Boston at number 1, Toronto at number 2, Tampa 3rd, Florida 4th, and went to the final. 5th Buffalo, 6th Ottawa, 7th Detroit, 8th Montreal. My biggest mistake last year was saying Boston would finish 6th. Yeah, that didn't go too well, did it? But we're going to start off the predictions here by starting the way... honestly, I think I started it off last year. Montreal will be better, most likely, but they will still be in last. There's no doubt about that. 8th place should be the Montreal Canadiens for the 3rd straight year. We'll see how that goes. I think I had them finishing 5th last season, and was it last season? I don't remember. But yeah, that didn't end up going too well for Montreal. I'm not sure if it was 2 years ago or last year. Now, finishing 7th is difficult because there are many teams I can put here, and I really don't know which one it's going to be. For the time being, I could go with a wild prediction here, but there's just so many good teams in the Atlantic. The Atlantic is the division of death, and I really don't know who I want at number 7. Sorry about that, guys. A little thing there. Number 7, at this point, I'm going to pick the... this is difficult. This is really difficult, but... Ottawa. Right now, just by looking at it, I feel like Ottawa is most likely to finish last, or 7th. Do I think they will? Probably not. But predictions-wise, right now this is the best I think I can put for the 7th place spot. And finishing in 6th place then, I have the Detroit Red Wings. I believe Detroit definitely should improve with DeBrincat now going that way. They traded Kubalik, they got DeBrincat. Ottawa does get Tarasenko though, and it's really hard to choose between these teams right now. I will say, I'm really stuck on what I'm choosing to be put where now. Ottawa and Detroit. Do I feel confident in those picks? Not really, but someone has to finish 6th, someone has to finish 7th, and it's unfortunate. Now, moving down to 5th, Boston, and not in the playoffs, so that would mean X, Y, because I have New Jersey winning the conference. So, Boston, they're not going to have 135 points, 65 wins again, and they lost Bergeron, they lost Krejci, they lost Hall, Foligno, they lost a lot of people. They should still be at least competitive, but they're a team that's getting older, and their division is getting younger, and they're getting better and better. I think it's going to be a very close race between these three some teams in the Atlantic for that final playoff spot, where Metro teams probably could flounder, like Washington, Philadelphia, Columbus. They might not all be all the way in it, but I feel like this division's so deep that they all can be really good in it. Now at number 4, Buffalo, I believe, is going to make the playoffs for the first time in 13 years. Yep, it's going to be the 13th season if they don't make it this year. But I remember when they did. My brother wasn't even born yet. And Buffalo, all they need, I think, is some goaltending. They have their young defensemen. They have their young forward core. They have everything they need to finally burst out of the bubble. Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins, J.J. Peterka, Victor Olofsson, Jeff Skinner. Sorry about that once again. Just a few of the weapons they have up front. And on defense, you add Eric Johnson, you add Connor Carrick for some depth on that bottom 2 pair. Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin will be better. Dahlin had a great year last year. And so Buffalo, I think, should be in the playoffs, but I think it's going to be close between Buffalo, Boston, Detroit, and Ottawa in this division for that final playoff spot. In third, this is another difficult one. I'm going to say Florida. I'm going to say these guys in third, simply because I don't think they have the depth Tampa has, which leads me to do Tampa in second and Toronto at first. Toronto should have won more divisions than they have, and I'm surprised they've only won one, and that was in the North Division back in 2021. But that's how I think it should go. Toronto, Tampa, Florida. Buffalo should be the teams in. Really a strange variety if we call back to 10 years ago. None of these teams were near the playoffs. I mean, Tampa was getting there, but none of these teams made the playoffs 10 years ago. But, yeah, so it's funny, it's all four of these teams did. But that's how rebuilds do stuff. Teams go through rebuilds, teams go through change, and hopefully, well, I'm not saying I want my predictions to be correct, sure, because I look like a genius, but I want this league to be unpredictable. That's the best version of a league, is when it's unpredictable. Toronto, Tampa, Florida, Buffalo I have in. Boston, Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal I have out. But I do think, though, that the Atlantic is going to be the tightest of all the divisions, easily the toughest, as I think they have 7 out of the 8 teams in that division should be playoff teams. Which brings up the argument of, should there be a 1 versus 8, because I think the Atlantic division, there's going to be guys that are 5th and 6th that are going to have more points probably than some of the folks in the some of the teams in the Metro. I think Pittsburgh's going to get that first wild card. Buffalo's probably going to get the second, or vice versa. But it's going to be very, very close. I'm trying to think who I picked 5th in that division. I had the Islanders at 6th. Did I put the I put the Islanders at 5th. Columbus at 6th, I believe. Washington 7. So I think it's going to be a much closer race in the Atlantic, if I haven't said that enough already. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Tell me down below what your predictions are for the Atlantic Division. And soon I'll have my full league standings coming soon. That'll be the first power rankings of the season, my preseason power rankings. And I shall see you guys in the next one. And look out for BFR preseason games. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.